A false war begins. The galaxy trembled as news spread across every inhabited world. A mighty Krell empire had declared war on the peaceful Vega Federation. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Horizon, watching the emergency. Broadcasts from the Galactic Council chambers. "Another senseless war," muttered Captain Ross, shaking his head. "The Krell have always been aggressive, but this seems different." The holographic display showed Krell warships massing at the border systems. Their black holes gleamed under distant stars, weapons charged and ready. The Vega Federation's pale blue vessels looked fragile in comparison, like butterflies facing wolves. Earth had been part of the Galactic Council for only 50 years. Humans were still considered newcomers, their opinions rarely sought in major decisions. But something about this war felt wrong to Kane. His instincts, honed by decades of military service, screamed warnings. "Sir, incoming transmission from Council Prime," reported Lieutenant Park from the communications station. The image of Chancellor Dex appeared on screen. The tall, gray-skinned alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he spoke. "All council members must choose sides. The Krell threaten galactic peace. We expect Earth's support for the Vega Federation." Kane exchanged glances with his crew. Earth had treaties with both sides, but the Council's tone suggested no room for neutrality. "Respectfully, Chancellor," Kane replied, "Earth requests time to analyze the situation before committing forces." Dex's expression darkened. "Time is a luxury we cannot afford. The Krell advance daily. Choose quickly, Admiral Kane." The transmission ended. Kane ordered his tactical officer, Commander Blake, to begin deep scans of the conflict zone. What they found made his blood run cold. The Krell attacks followed precise patterns. Too precise. Their targeting systems avoided critical infrastructure while focusing on military assets. The Vega Federation's responses seemed equally choreographed, as if both sides were following a script. "Blake, pull up the economic data from the past 6 months," Kane ordered. The information that appeared on screen told a disturbing story. Weapons manufacturers from both empires had seen massive profit increases. Mining operations in neutral systems had expanded rapidly. Transportation companies reported record-breaking cargo runs of military supplies. "It's like they're feeding off the conflict," whispered Dr. Liu, the ship's science officer. Kane's suspicions deepened when he noticed something else. The battles always ended with minimal casualties. For a supposedly vicious war, remarkably few soldiers were actually dying. The destruction looked impressive in the news reports, but careful analysis revealed most damaged ships or old models scheduled for decommission. "Run a communication analysis," Kane told his intelligence team. "I want to know if there's any unusual chatter between Krell and Vega command structures." The results confirmed his fears. Encrypted messages were being exchanged between the supposedly hostile fleets. The codes were sophisticated, but Earth's quantum computers eventually cracked them. The messages contained coordinates, timing schedules, and damage assessments that suggested careful coordination. Kane called an emergency meeting with Earth's military leadership. General Ford, a veteran of the Mars Colony Wars, listened grimly. As Kane presented his findings, "You're suggesting the entire war is fake?" Ford asked. "Not fake," Kane corrected. "Manufactured. Both sides are working together to create the appearance of conflict while profiting from it. The question is why." The answer came from an unexpected source. Tommy, a young technician monitoring deep space communications, discovered something while calibrating the long-range sensors. Hidden behind the war broadcasts were subtle data streams containing resource surveys of previously unexplored systems. "Sir," Tommy reported excitedly, "they're mapping new territories. Systems rich in rare minerals and energy sources. The war is a distraction." Kane studied the data. The surveyed systems formed a rough sphere around Earth's local cluster. Someone was preparing for expansion, and humanity's home region was right in the middle of it. They're coming for us, Kane realized. The war keeps everyone distracted while they prepare to divide up our space. The pieces fell into place. Earth's rapid technological advancement had made other species nervous. Human innovation in quantum computing, bioengineering, and space propulsion had progressed faster than anyone expected. The fake war served multiple purposes: profit for the major powers, distraction for the minor ones, and preparation for humanity's containment. Kane made a decision that would change everything. Earth would not choose sides in the manufactured conflict. Instead, they would expose the deception and prepare for the real war that was coming. Contact all Earth colonies, he ordered. Tell them to begin defensive preparations immediately. And get me a secure line to the few alien species we can trust. The galaxy thought it was watching a war between the Krell and Vega, but Earth had discovered the truth. The real war was about to begin, and humanity would be ready. 3 weeks passed as Earth quietly investigated the false war. Admiral Kane coordinated with trusted allies across the galaxy while maintaining the appearance of neutrality. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Captain Mills, commanding the merchant vessel Trader's Hope, reported strange activities during routine cargo runs. Admiral, I've been hauling supplies between systems for 20 years. This doesn't add up. Mills had documented dozens of anomalies. Krell ships refueling at Vega stations under cover of darkness. Vega commanders meeting with Krell officers. On neutral worlds. Most telling were the shipping manifests he'd copied. Both sides were ordering identical equipment from the same manufacturers. They're not just coordinating, Mills explained over the secure channel. They're sharing resources. I watched a Krell destroyer take on Vega ammunition 3 days ago. Meanwhile, Dr. Liu had been analyzing the battle footage more carefully. Her findings were disturbing. The weapons fire is real, but look at the targeting patterns, she explained to Kane's staff. They're hitting empty compartments, redundant systems, and outdated equipment. It's like they have blueprints of each other's ships. Commander Blake discovered something even more troubling. The few casualties reported were all from species that had recently joined the Galactic Council. Young civilizations like the Centauri Republic and the Altair Alliance were losing ships, while Krell and Vega forces remained mysteriously intact. They're eliminating potential rivals, Blake reported grimly, making it look like accident of war. Kane assembled a secret task force of Earth's best intelligence officers. Agent Stone, a former diplomat, used her contacts to trace financial records. What she found made the conspiracy clear. There's a shadow organization, Stone reported. They call themselves the Hegemony. Leaders from both Krell and Vega empires, plus several other major powers. They've been planning this for decades. The Hegemony's goals were simple but terrifying. They wanted to control galactic expansion, eliminate rising civilizations, and establish themselves as the permanent ruling class. The fake war served as cover for their real operations. Lieutenant Park intercepted more encrypted communications. The messages revealed the Hegemony's timeline. Phase 1 was the manufactured war to distract the galaxy. Phase 2 involved systematic elimination of promising younger species. Phase 3 would be the division of their territories among Hegemony members. Earth is marked for Phase 2, Park reported quietly, along with 12 other species. They plan to frame us for war crimes and justify invasion. Kane realized the scope of the deception. The Galactic Council itself was compromised. Chancellor Dex and several other high-ranking officials were part of the Hegemony. The entire government structure was designed to maintain the illusion of peace while enabling systematic conquest. The evidence was overwhelming, but Kane faced a terrible problem. How could Earth expose the conspiracy without being destroyed? In the process, the hegemony controlled most of the galaxy's military power. Direct confrontation would be suicide. The solution came from an unlikely source. Chief Engineer Murphy, working on upgrades to Earth's defense systems, made a discovery that changed everything. "Sir, I've been analyzing the quantum signatures from their communications. They're all using the same encryption base. If we can crack it, we can intercept everything," Kane finished. Murphy's team worked around the clock. Earth's quantum computers, more advanced than anything the hegemony possessed, slowly unraveled their communication networks. The intelligence they gathered was staggering. The hegemony had plans for hundreds of star systems. They knew the location of every habitable world, every resource deposit, every strategic position. Their maps showed Earth's sector marked for complete occupation within 2 years. But the intercepted messages also revealed weaknesses. The hegemony's power depended on secrecy and coordination. Their member species didn't completely trust each other. Ancient rivalries and territorial disputes simmered beneath the surface. Kane saw an opportunity. "We can't fight them directly," he told his senior staff, "but we can turn them against each other." The plan was risky but brilliant. Earth would selectively leak information to create suspicion within the hegemony. Krell commanders would learn about Vega expansion plans. Vega leaders would discover Krell resource claims. Each species would believe the others were planning to betray them. "It's a dangerous game," warned General Ford. "If they discover what we're doing, they'll destroy us anyway," Kane replied. "At least this way, we have a chance." The final piece of evidence came from deep space reconnaissance. Hidden bases throughout the galaxy were revealed to be hegemony staging areas. Massive fleets waited in dark systems, ready to emerge when the fake war reached its planned conclusion. That Earth now knew the truth. The galaxy was being prepared for conquest by its own leaders. The question was whether humanity could stop them. Before it was too late. The moment came sooner than expected. Chancellor Dex announced that the Krell-Vega war had reached a critical phase. Both sides were calling for immediate support from all council members. Earth could no longer remain neutral. Admiral Kane stood before the emergency council session, broadcast across the galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of species watched as he prepared to make the most important speech in human history. "Honorable delegates," Kane began, his voice steady despite the weight of what he was about to reveal. "Earth has completed its analysis of the current conflict. We have discovered something that will shock you all." The chamber fell silent. Chancellor Dex's 4 eyes narrowed with suspicion. "The war between the Krell Empire and Vega Federation is not real," Kane announced. "It is a carefully orchestrated deception designed to hide the greatest conspiracy in galactic history." Chaos erupted in the chamber. Delegates shouted accusations and demands for proof. Kane waited calmly as his tactical team began broadcasting the evidence. "These are encrypted communications between Krell and Vega command structures," Kane continued as the messages appeared on screens throughout the chamber. "They reveal coordination of attacks, shared resources, and careful choreography of battles." The translations were devastating. Krell Admiral Voss discussing timing with Vega Commander Zara. Resource-sharing agreements between supposedly hostile fleets. Battle plans designed to maximize visual impact while minimizing actual damage. "This is fabricated human propaganda," shouted the Krell delegate. Kane had anticipated this response. These communications were verified by 3 independent quantum analysis systems. The encryption signatures are authentic. The timestamps are accurate. The evidence is irrefutable. The second wave of revelations hit even harder. Financial records showing joint profits from weapons sales, shipping manifests revealing identical equipment orders, mining surveys of neutral systems conducted by both sides. The fake war serves multiple purposes, Kane explained. Profit for weapons manufacturers, distraction for the galaxy, and preparation for conquest of younger civilizations. The chamber erupted again as delegates realized the implications. The Centauri representative stood, his face pale. "You're saying our losses were intentional?" "I'm saying you were targeted for elimination," Kane replied grimly. "Along with Earth and 11 other species deemed threats to the established order." Chancellor Dex finally spoke, his voice filled with authority. "These are serious accusations. Admiral Kane, do you have proof of this alleged conspiracy?" Kane smiled coldly. "I have something better. I have their membership list." The final bombshell landed with devastating effect. Names and images of hegemony leaders appeared on screens throughout the chamber. Chancellor Dex's own face stared back at the delegates, along with dozens of other high-ranking officials. "The shadow hegemony," Kane continued, "consists of leaders from the Krell Empire, Vega Federation, and 16 other major powers. They have been planning galactic conquest for decades, using the Council as a front for their operations. The evidence was overwhelming, meeting records from secret bases, financial transfers between conspirators, military deployment orders for the real invasion forces waiting in hidden systems. Delegate after delegate stood to demand answers. The Altair representative confronted Dex directly. "How long have you been planning to destroy us?" Dex's composure finally cracked. "You fools! You think your primitive civilizations deserve to inherit the galaxy? The hegemony maintains order and stability." The admission sent shockwaves through the chamber. Other council members began backing away from Dex and his known allies. The carefully maintained illusion of unity crumbled in minutes. Kane pressed his advantage. "The fake war ends now. The real threat is the hegemony itself. They have fleets positioned throughout the galaxy, ready to strike when their deception was complete." The revelation sparked immediate action. Younger species began forming defensive alliances. Trade agreements were suspended with hegemony members. Communication channels buzzed with emergency planning sessions. But Kane knew the real battle was just beginning. The hegemony had been exposed, but they still controlled massive military forces. Desperate conspirators were the most dangerous. Enemies of all. "Earth calls for immediate action," Kane announced. "We propose a new alliance of free species, dedicated to defending against hegemony aggression. The time for deception is over. The time for truth has begun." The vote was swift and decisive. Species after species pledged support for the new alliance. The hegemony's power base crumbled as their conspiracy was exposed to the galaxy. But even as victory seemed within reach, Kane received an urgent message from Earth's deep space monitors. The hidden fleets were moving. The hegemony had decided to abandon stealth and launch their invasion immediately. The fake war was over. The real war was about to begin. The hegemony's response was swift and brutal. Within hours of Kane's revelation, their hidden fleets emerged from dark space across the galaxy. The mask of civilization fell away, revealing the iron fist that had always lurked beneath. Earth's colonies were the first targets. Mars Defense Command reported massive ships approaching from the outer system. Luna Base confirmed hostile signatures. Moving toward Earth itself, the hegemony had decided to crush humanity before the new alliance could organize. Kane raced back to Earth aboard the Horizon, but he knew they would arrive too late. The defense of humanity would depend on the preparations they had made during the investigation. General Ford commanded Earth's response from the underground bunkers of Strategic Command. The months of secret preparation now proved their worth. While the galaxy had watched the fake war, Earth had been building real defenses. "All colonies report ready status," Ford announced as the enemy fleets closed in. "Project Fortress is active across the system." Project Fortress was Earth's insurance policy. Using advanced quantum technology, they had created a network of hidden defense platforms throughout the solar system. Each platform was invisible to conventional sensors, armed with weapons that could penetrate any known shielding. A hegemony's first mistake was assuming Earth would fight like other species. There, massive dreadnoughts advanced in traditional formation, expecting quick surrender or desperate resistance. Instead, they found empty space that suddenly erupted with devastating firepower. Captain Ross, commanding the defense of Mars, watched with satisfaction as hegemony ships reeled under the unexpected assault. They built their fleets for intimidation, not real combat, he reported. Their formations are too rigid, their responses too predictable. Earth's second advantage was information. The quantum intercepts had revealed detailed specifications for every hegemony vessel. Human engineers had identified weaknesses in their armor, flaws in their weapon systems, and gaps in their sensor coverage. Lieutenant Park coordinated the intelligence network from Earth's command center. Target their communication arrays first. She advised the defense platforms. Without coordination, they're just individual ships. The strategy worked perfectly. Hegemony fleets that had dominated the galaxy for centuries suddenly found themselves outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Human tactics emphasized speed, flexibility, and precision over brute force. But the real surprise came from Earth's allies. The species that had been marked for elimination had used the warning time well. Centauri Republic ships emerged from asteroid fields where they had been hiding. Altair Alliance forces struck from unexpected angles. The younger civilizations fought with the desperation of the condemned, and the fury of the betrayed. Agent Stone coordinated with resistance movements throughout the galaxy. "The hegemony's own people are turning against them," she reported. "Lower-ranking officers are refusing orders. Some are switching sides entirely. The conspiracy's greatest strength had become its greatest weakness." The hegemony had ruled through fear and deception, but their own people had no loyalty to leaders who had lied to them for decades. Dr. Liu made perhaps the most important discovery. Analysis of captured hegemony technology revealed a critical flaw in their quantum communication systems. "They're using a centralized command structure," she explained. "If we can disrupt the primary control node, we can blind their entire fleet," Kane finished. The horizon had finally reached Earth's system, arriving just as the battle reached its climax. The primary command node was located on a massive space station, hidden in the galactic core. It was heavily defended and considered impregnable. But Kane had a plan that only humans would have been crazy enough to attempt. "We're going to steal their own ships," he announced to his crew. "Use their technology against them." The plan was audacious beyond belief. Earth's special forces would infiltrate disabled hegemony vessels, take control of their systems, and use their own quantum communicators to hack the command node. It required perfect timing, incredible skill, and enormous luck. Commander Blake led the infiltration teams. Human adaptability proved crucial as they learned to operate alien technology in real time. The hegemony had never imagined their own ships could be turned against them so quickly. The breakthrough came when Blake's team reached the command ship of the Krell fleet. Using Kane's quantum analysis, they cracked the primary security codes and gained access to the entire hegemony network. "We're in," Blake reported, "transmitting virus protocols now." The virus was a masterpiece of human programming. It didn't destroy the hegemony's systems, but instead fed them false information. Ships received contradictory orders. Fleets were directed to attack each other. The careful coordination that had made their conspiracy possible became the instrument of their destruction. Within hours, the hegemony fleets were in chaos. Their secret alliance crumbled as species began fighting among themselves. The fake war had become a real one, but now the hegemony was fighting itself. Earth had done the impossible. They had turned the galaxy's greatest conspiracy against itself. Asterisk. Collapse of the hegemony's command structure triggered a galaxy-wide transformation. What had begun as Earth's desperate defense became a liberation movement that spread across hundreds of star systems. Kane stood on the bridge of the horizon, now flagship of the Free Species Alliance, watching as former hegemony worlds declared independence. The quantum virus had done more than disrupt their fleets. It had revealed the true scope of their oppression to their own people. "Admiral," reported Tommy from the communication station, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 hegemony commanders. They're asking for protection from their own leadership." The irony was not lost on Kane. The same species that had plotted humanity's destruction were now begging for human protection. But Kane understood that lasting peace required justice, not revenge. "Accept their surrenders," Kane ordered. "But they'll face trial for their crimes. The galaxy deserves to know the truth about what they've done." The real war had indeed begun, but it was not the war the hegemony had planned. Instead of conquest, it was a war of liberation. Species that had been oppressed for centuries were finally free to choose their own paths. General Ford coordinated the military campaign from Earth's Strategic Command. The hegemony's remaining loyalists fought with desperate fury, but their rigid tactics proved no match for the Alliance's flexibility. "They're retreating to their core worlds," Ford reported, "but they're not going quietly. Intelligence suggests they're preparing for a final stand." The final stand came at the hegemony's secret capital, a massive fortress built inside a dead star. For centuries, it had been the hidden heart of galactic manipulation. Now it would be the site of their last battle. Kane led the assault personally, commanding a fleet of ships from dozens of species. The diversity that the hegemony had tried to eliminate became their downfall. Human innovation, Centauri resilience, Altair courage, and the unique strengths of every alliance member combined into an unstoppable force. The battle for the fortress was brutal but brief. The hegemony's defenders fought with the desperation of the cornered, but they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. When the fortress finally fell, the galaxy's oldest conspiracy died with it. Chancellor Dex was captured trying to escape in a stolen transport. As he was led away in restraints, Kane felt no satisfaction, only sadness for the potential that had been wasted. "Why?" Kane asked the fallen Chancellor. "Your species could have led the galaxy to greatness. Instead, you chose domination." Dex's 4 eyes blazed with unrepentant fury. "You think your alliance will last? You think these primitive species can govern themselves? Within a generation, they'll be begging for our return." Kane shook his head. "That's where you're wrong. We're not trying to rule them. We're helping them rule themselves." The aftermath of the war brought challenges that required all of humanity's wisdom. The Alliance had to rebuild entire sectors of the galaxy, establish new forms of government, and heal the wounds of centuries of oppression. Earth took the lead in establishing the new Galactic Congress, but with a crucial difference from the old Council. Power was distributed equally among all species, with no single faction able to dominate the others. Dr. Liu headed the new Scientific Cooperation Initiative, sharing Earth's advanced technology with any species willing to use it for peaceful purposes. The quantum communication networks that had enabled the hegemony's conspiracy were rebuilt as tools of transparency and cooperation. Agent Stone led the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, ensuring that the full extent of the hegemony's crimes was documented and understood. The galaxy had to confront its past, before it could build a better future. The trials of hegemony leaders lasted for months. Many were sentenced to life imprisonment, but others who had genuinely repented were allowed to help rebuild the worlds they had damaged. Justice, Kane insisted, should heal rather than merely punish. A year after the revelation, Kane stood once again on the bridge of the horizon, but now it was on a peaceful mission. Earth's ships were exploring new regions of space, not as conquerors, but as explorers and friends. New contact on long-range sensors, reported Lieutenant Park. Unknown species, approximately 50 light-years from the rim. Kane smiled. The galaxy was vast, and there were still countless wonders to discover. But now they would be discovered by free beings working together, not by conspirators plotting in shadows. Set course for contact, Kane ordered. Let's see what new friends we can make. The fake war had ended. The real war had been won. But the greatest victory was yet to come, the peace that would follow, built on truth, cooperation, and the endless potential of species working together toward a brighter future. Galaxy had been deceived, but Earth had shown them the truth. Now they would build something better than anyone had dared to imagine. Note, this is part 1 of the 5-part story outline. Each subsequent part will be approximately 770 words, maintaining the third-person narrative style with simple character, names, and engaging HFY themes. The story focuses on human ingenuity, strategic thinking, and the ability to see through deception that other species missed. Asterisk,